On a seemingly ordinary Wednesday in Evergreen, Colorado, life moved at its usual gentle pace. The sun rose over the mountains, casting a golden glow on the quiet streets, and families went about their morning routines, never suspecting that this day would be unlike any other. But as the school day began at Evergreen High School, tragedy struck without warning, shattering the peace that had always defined this close-knit community. The familiar sounds of laughter and learning were suddenly replaced by the terrifying echo of gunfire. Students and teachers, caught off guard, found themselves plunged into chaos and fear, desperately searching for safety as the unimaginable unfolded around them. In an instant, the sense of security that had always been a part of this mountain town vanished. Shock and sorrow swept through Evergreen, leaving families and friends clinging to each other, trying to make sense of the horror that had just occurred. September 10, 2025, became a day forever etched in the memory of every resident. The date now marks a turning point, a before and after for Evergreen, Colorado. What began as a routine school day quickly spiraled into a nightmare. Students and teachers scrambled for safety, some hiding in classrooms, others running through hallways, all united by a single desperate hope: to survive. The trauma of that moment will linger for years to come. For those who were there, the fear and confusion are memories that will not easily fade, and the emotional scars are a heavy burden to bear. This tragedy is a stark reminder of the ongoing crisis of school shootings in our nation, a crisis that touches communities large and small, leaving heartbreak in its wake and raising urgent questions about safety and prevention. As Evergreen faces the aftermath, the community must come together to heal, support one another, and seek answers. Vigils are held, counseling is offered, and neighbors reach out to help in any way they can. We'll follow their journey, through heartbreak, resilience, and the search for hope. In the face of tragedy, Evergreen's spirit will be tested, but together they will strive to find light in the darkness and rebuild what was lost. At 12:24 p.m., the first reports of gunfire at Evergreen High School triggered a rapid emergency response. Within minutes, the scene was flooded with police cars, ambulances, and emergency personnel, all racing against time to secure the area and provide aid. Lunchtime chatter turned to panic as students ran or hid, teachers barricaded doors, and fear gripped the building. The once familiar hallways became a maze of terror, with everyone trying to find a safe place amidst the chaos. 4 students were injured in the attack, 3 critically, turning a place of learning into a scene of devastation. Paramedics worked tirelessly to stabilize the injured, their efforts a stark contrast to the violence that had erupted moments before. News spread quickly, first as frantic texts, then as grim confirmation from authorities. Parents and loved ones were left in a state of shock, glued to their phones and televisions, desperate for any updates. Ambulances rushed the wounded to hospitals, while the community held its breath, desperate for good news. The hospital emergency rooms became a focal point of anxiety and hope, as families gathered, praying for the recovery of their children. The motive for the shooting remains unclear, leaving Evergreen searching for answers. Investigators combed through the crime scene, looking for clues that might explain the senseless act, while the community grappled with the shock and grief. As investigators worked to piece together what happened, the school's halls echo with fear and sorrow. The once bustling corridors now stand silent, a stark reminder of the tragedy that unfolded. The path to healing will be long, marked by the need for support and a renewed sense of safety. Counselors and support groups have become essential, offering a space for students and teachers to process their emotions and begin the journey towards recovery. Evergreen is left to grapple with the question, how do we move forward after such senseless violence? Community meetings and vigils have become a common sight, as people come together to mourn, support each other, and seek a way forward. The journey begins with understanding, compassion, and unity. In the face of tragedy, the strength of the Evergreen community shines through as they come together to heal and rebuild one step at a time. In a shocking twist, authorities revealed the suspected shooter was among the 4 injured students. The attacker was not an outsider, but a peer, deepening the community's pain and confusion. No police fired their weapons. The suspect's injuries were not from law enforcement. Investigators are working to determine if the wounds were self-inflicted or accidental during the chaos. Searches of the suspect's home and locker may reveal clues to motive, as the community seeks understanding. The revelation forces Evergreen to confront difficult questions about warning signs and the pressures facing its youth. The tragedy's roots, heartbreakingly, were sown within the very halls meant to nurture and protect. The first 911 call unleashed a massive, coordinated emergency response. Law enforcement from across the region arrived within minutes, quickly neutralizing the suspect and securing the school. Officers methodically cleared classrooms, ensuring no further threats and locating the injured. Paramedics rushed in as soon as it was safe, providing life-saving care and transporting victims to trauma centers. The scale and speed of the response demonstrated exceptional preparedness and cooperation. The campus remained on lockdown for hours as every room was searched. Helicopters, police cars, and ambulances surrounded the school, a stark reminder of the day's gravity. Every available resource was deployed to protect students and staff. The professionalism of first responders prevented further tragedy. Their actions brought a measure of order to the chaos. Amid the turmoil, public officials stepped forward to inform and reassure the community. Jacki Kelley, spokesperson for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, provided steady updates, combating rumors and calming fears. Officials confirmed the threat was contained and the campus was secure, offering relief to anxious parents. A reunification center was quickly established at Bergen Meadow Elementary, guiding families away from the high school. Clear communication helped manage the crisis and ensured an orderly reunification process. As the situation stabilized, leaders shifted focus to recovery, promising support and resources for those affected. Grief counselors and victim advocates were mobilized to help the community begin healing. Local leaders expressed solidarity and sorrow, pledging to stand with the victims and their families. Their words marked the first step toward unity and recovery. News of the shooting sent shockwaves through Evergreen, igniting fear and panic. Parents received frantic texts from their children, messages no one should ever have to read. Helpless, they waited for updates, desperate to know their loved ones were safe. Inside the school, students and teachers endured terror, huddled in lockdown, praying for safety. The trauma of those moments will leave lasting scars, requiring time and support to heal. The entire town felt the impact. Businesses closed, streets emptied, and neighbors worried for one another. The attack shattered Evergreen's peaceful image, replacing it with grief and vulnerability. As the lockdown dragged on, shock gave way to sorrow and anger. The tragedy united the community in shared pain, forging a somber bond. For parents, the hours after the shooting were filled with agonizing uncertainty. At Bergen Meadow Elementary, families gathered, clinging to hope and each other. The reunification process was slow but deliberate, prioritizing safety and accountability. Students, still in shock, were escorted from the high school to waiting buses. The sight of buses arriving brought relief, but the wait for reunion was excruciating. Inside the gym, families were finally reunited. Tears, embraces, and whispered words of love. For some, the nightmare ended. For others, the pain continued as they awaited news of injured loved ones. The process, though emotionally draining, restored a sense of order after chaos. Volunteers and staff provided comfort and support, helping families through the ordeal. In these moments, Evergreen's resilience began to shine. The tragedy at Evergreen High drew immediate support from federal agencies. The ATF and FBI joined the investigation, bringing expertise in tracing firearms and analyzing digital evidence. Their involvement ensures a thorough search for answers and accountability. The presence of national agencies reassures the community that they are not alone in their grief. Federal support extends to mental health and crisis response, offering resources for long-term recovery. This partnership between local and national agencies is vital for justice and healing. Evergreen's crisis is met with the full weight of the nation's support. In the days after the shooting, Evergreen has been united in grief and in resilience. The shock and pain have been overwhelming, but through the sorrow, a powerful sense of togetherness has emerged. Families, friends, and neighbors have leaned on each other, finding comfort in shared memories and collective strength. Vigils and gatherings have brought the community together, refusing to let violence define them. At these events, people share stories, tears, and moments of silence, honoring those lost while supporting one another. The glow of candles and the warmth of joined hands remind everyone that they are not alone in their grief. Support for victims and families has poured in, from donations to simple acts of kindness. Volunteers have organized meal trains, delivered care packages, and written heartfelt notes. These gestures, big and small, have helped ease the burden for those most affected, showing that compassion can be a powerful force for healing. Local businesses and neighbors have rallied, offering help and comfort. Storefronts display messages of hope, and community members check in on one another, making sure no one feels forgotten. The spirit of generosity and empathy has become a lifeline for many. The road to recovery will be long, with ongoing needs for mental health support and compassion. Counselors and support groups have stepped in, providing safe spaces for students, teachers, and families to process their emotions. Healing is a journey, and Evergreen is committed to walking it together. The scars, physical and emotional, will take time to heal, but Evergreen is committed to caring for its own. Messages of love and remembrance cover the memorial wall, and every embrace is a reminder that no one has to face this pain alone. September 11th, 2025, marks not just loss, but the beginning of a story of resilience. Each year, the anniversary becomes a moment to reflect, to mourn, and to recommit to building a safer, more compassionate community for the future. Evergreen's strength is found in unity, kindness, and the determination to heal. The bonds formed in tragedy have become a foundation for hope, inspiring others to reach out and support one another. Neighbors help neighbors, strangers offer support, and hope begins to return. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, is a step toward rebuilding trust and restoring a sense of normalcy. The journey ahead is uncertain, but together, Evergreen will find light in the darkness. Each new day brings opportunities for healing, for growth, and for remembering that hope can flourish even after the darkest of times. In honoring the victims, the community chooses compassion, understanding, and hope for the future. Through unity and unwavering support, Evergreen is writing a new chapter, one defined not by tragedy, but by the enduring power of hope and love.